Breaking news, the major tropical threat to the U.S., a state of emergency now declared for part of the East Coast. We're watching two systems tonight. Hurricane Humberto, now a major storm, and it's the second system on track to hit the U.S. It could become a Hurricane 2, likely making landfall along the East Coast. The new models just in tonight and what they show. Lee Goldberg is here to time this out. Former FBI Director James Comey indicted as we were on the air last night, and tonight President Trump now warning, quote, there will be others, after the president publicly called on his Attorney General Pam Bondi to go after his political enemies. Tonight, the disturbing video showing an ICE agent shoving a mother against a wall, sending her falling to the floor. Her husband detained just moments before, all with their children watching. Tonight, that agent suspended. In New York, the dramatic images at the UN today, the walkout as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was ready to speak. Tonight, Netanyahu vowing to, quote, finish the job in Gaza. First to ABC News, new reporting tonight on the gunman who opened fire on Park Avenue in New York City, killing 4 people, that office building home to NFL headquarters. What the medical examiner has now revealed about the gunman. Tonight, the potential government shutdown just 5 days away now, the White House threatening mass firings of federal workers. Democrats say they're fighting to reverse Medicaid cuts and to keep health insurance premiums from going up. Outside New York City, the scare at the Ryder Cup, the explosion, fans seen running for cover. Also tonight, Amazon agreeing to a settlement. Some customers who claim they couldn't get rid of their Amazon Prime subscription will be paid back. I don't know if you're one of them. And the catcher and the history on the field, and then the quiet surprise off the field. Who is our person of the week?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us here on a very busy Friday night. We begin tonight with the growing concern in the Atlantic. 2 tropical threats growing stronger at this hour. One of them could eventually slam into the U.S. In fact, a state of emergency was just declared for parts of the East Coast. We've been tracking Hurricane Humberto, now a Category 3 hurricane tonight, expected to become a major Category 4 hurricane as early as tomorrow, passing between Bermuda and the U.S. But it's the second tropical system that poses the real threat. The new track just in, it shows the second system is now expected to potentially become a hurricane within days, possibly making landfall along the Carolinas. Right now, it looks like South Carolina. A short time ago, South Carolina's governor declaring that state of emergency. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg of WABC, tracking again tonight for us. Hi, Lee.
Hi, David. Could be a weekend of preparation along the southeast coast of the United States. Big developments with the 2 systems we've been watching. Of course, Humberto rapidly intensifying. 115-mile-per-hour winds could go Cat 4 tomorrow. Now, it's tracking northwest and go west of Bermuda, but it has an impact on potential tropical cyclone 9. Hurricane Center gives that designation so they can do advanced alerts. So that's going to creep northward. Could be Imelda over the Bahamas over the weekend, maybe go hurricane status. But the problem is you have the push-pull of Humberto offshore, the front along the coast, and the storm starts creeping toward the Carolina coast, could even stall. So that enhances the flood threat from the Georgia coast all the way up to the southern mid-Atlantic. Now, if it starts to wind up, now you throw the surge and the winds into the mix as well. And then add to that, David, there's a front along the coast now, so you have pre-game rain happening and saturating the ground. That'll enhance the flood risk. We'll know a lot more as we go through tomorrow. David?
Yeah, that saturated ground, even before this could hit, was a real problem. Lee, thanks for being here tonight. Now to the fallout after former FBI Director James Comey was indicted while we were on the air last night here. Tonight, President Trump is now warning, quote, there will be others, after the president publicly called on his Attorney General Pam Bondi to go after his political enemies. Comey, a longtime target of President Trump's, tonight what led to this indictment, and this evening Comey insisting he is innocent and saying, let's have a trial. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, President Trump insists the Justice Department's prosecution of his longtime enemy, former FBI Director James Comey, is not about revenge.
It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about justice. It's also about the fact that you can't let this go on. He's a dirty cop. He's always been a dirty cop. Everybody knew it.
Comey tonight defiant.
But I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial.
The former FBI director has been in the president's sights for nearly a decade.
He's become more famous than me.
Trump fired Comey, who was leading the investigation into whether his campaign colluded with Russia. Comey then testified that the president had asked him to pledge his loyalty, but he refused.
I've seen the tweet about tapes. Lordy, I hope there are tapes.
Now the president has a Justice Department where loyalty is key. 6 days ago, he publicly urged Attorney General Pam Bondi to go after several of his enemies, including Comey.
We have to act fast. If they're not guilty, that's fine. If they are guilty or if they should be charged, they should be charged. And we have to do it now.
He forced out the U.S. attorney who had been investigating Comey for 2 months, replacing him on Monday with his former personal attorney, Lindsay Halligan, saying she would get things moving. And just 3 days later, Halligan convinced a grand jury to charge Comey on 2 counts, lying to Congress and obstructing a congressional proceeding. The indictment just 2 pages long and light on details. Sources tell ABC News prosecutors allege Comey shared information with a close friend about an investigation connected to Hillary Clinton, so that friend could then pass the information along to a reporter.
Mr. Comey,
The Justice Department claims Comey then lied to Congress about it.
I stand by what the testimony you summarized.
Comey insists he's innocent. Tonight, CNN releasing part of an interview Comey recorded months before he was indicted, reflecting on his relationship with the president.
I often joke I'm the relationship that Trump can't get over, wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about me and how I'm living my best life. I think it has some combination of I really have had a happy, productive life since then, and that I spoke out about him, and that despite their absolute best efforts, they were never able to get me.
And David, the president today indicating there are more indictments to come, telling reporters, I think there will be others. Among the potential targets he's already named, New York Attorney General Letitia James and billionaire Democratic donor George Soros. David?
Pierre Thomas, who will continue to follow this. Pierre, thank you. Tonight, the disturbing video in New York City showing an ICE agent shoving a mother against a wall, sending her falling to the floor. Her husband detained just moments before, all with their children watching. Tonight, that agent has now been suspended, and a warning here. The video is difficult. Here's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, this federal immigration agent seen pushing a woman, now relieved of duty. Video shows the woman pleading as masked ICE agents detain her husband yesterday in New York.
Just grab her, pull her away.
The officers blocking the hallway, preventing her from running toward her husband, then carrying her into a room. The agent later heard saying adios before shoving the woman against the wall, causing them both to fall to the floor, then hovering over her as her crying children rushed to her side. The mother taken to the hospital for treatment. Officials saying the family was at the courthouse for a routine asylum hearing.
The kids were in my office. It is just crushing to have seen them speak to their father, who called from immigration detention, and to have the young boy, he didn't know where his dad was. It's just sort of unspeakable, the terror and the fear that they and so many others are feeling because of this militarized ICE department.
And tonight, the Department of Homeland Security calling the agent's conduct unacceptable and beneath the men and women of ICE.
David, DHS says that ICE agent has been relieved of current duties as they conduct a full investigation. Congressman Goldman has asked the DOJ to review the officer for possible criminal charges. David.
Stephanie Ramos reporting tonight. Steph, thank you. Here in New York City, the dramatic images at the UN today, the walkout as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was ready to speak. Tonight, Netanyahu vowing to, quote, finish the job in Gaza, and his speech was playing on loudspeakers near the Gaza border. Here's our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, tonight.
Outside the UN today, thousands protesting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's war in Gaza.
Please, order in hall.
And inside the UN, a mass walkout as Netanyahu approached the podium. But the Israeli Prime Minister defiant, vowing his military operation in Gaza will continue.
The final remnants of Hamas are holed up in Gaza City. They vow to repeat the atrocities of October 7th. That is why Israel must finish the job.
Netanyahu flatly rejected the idea of a two-state solution and condemned the countries now recognizing Palestinian statehood.
Your disgraceful decision will encourage terrorism against Jews and against innocent people everywhere. It will be a mark of shame on all of you. President Trump's administration.
The Prime Minister had his speech broadcast through loudspeakers into Gaza to directly address the hostages still held by Hamas.
The people of Israel are with you.
But the families of the hostages blasting the speech, calling Netanyahu's words hollow. President Trump, who is expected to meet with Netanyahu on Monday, is now teasing a possible breakthrough.
It's going to be a deal it's going to be peace. I think we have a deal.
So let's bring in Martha Raddatz with us tonight. Martha, that was the scene, of course, at the UN today, but you have reporting tonight on another story you're following. You're learning more about the meeting Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has called for hundreds of senior generals and admirals.
Exactly, David. We've learned that the meeting on Tuesday in Quantico, Virginia, will essentially be Secretary Hegseth talking about restoring what he calls the warrior ethos. But one official telling ABC News the 30 to 60-minute presentation will be costly, given the travel and lodging for hundreds of senior officers coming from all around the world. David?
Martha Raddatz live in Washington again tonight. Martha, thanks. Now to new reporting here on the gunman who opened fire on that Park Avenue building, killing 4 people. That office building home to NFL headquarters. What the medical examiner has now revealed about the gunman. Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky.
The gunman who opened fire at the NFL's New York City headquarters, killing 4 people, including a police officer, claimed he had a traumatic brain injury from football, urging scientists to study his brain. And tonight, investigators confirm he did have CTE. Shane Tamura drove cross-country from Las Vegas and used an assault-style rifle in the July rampage at 345 Park Avenue before he shot and killed himself. Police say they found this note in Tamura's pocket, blaming the NFL for concealing the dangers to players' brains to maximize profits. He also wrote, "Study my brain, please. I'm sorry." Tonight, the New York City medical examiner says a study of Tamura's brain found unambiguous diagnostic evidence of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, also known as CTE, but stopped short of saying what role, if any, it played in the shooting.
Hey, we're here with standout running back Shane Tamura.
Tamura played high school, not professional football. His family had warned he was suffering, his mother calling 911 last year.
He was just crying and said, "I'm not going to be able to go any further."
The NFL said tonight, David, there's no justification for the horrific acts that took place. And importantly, David, the medical examiner did not address whether CTE played any role in that deadly attack. David?
Aaron Katersky on this again tonight. Thank you, Aaron. We turn next tonight to this potential government shutdown now just 5 days away. The White House threatening mass firings of federal workers. Democrats say they're fighting to reverse Medicaid cuts and to keep health insurance premiums from going up for millions. Democrats say the White House has refused to meet. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, President Trump refusing to meet with Democrats to prevent a government shutdown now looming just 5 days away.
If it has to shut down, it'll have to shut down.
Democrats say they're trying to protect Medicaid and prevent health insurance premiums from going up for millions. But Republicans won't budge. The White House instead threatening mass layoffs of federal workers. In past shutdowns, workers were furloughed and returned to their jobs when the government reopened. But now the administration is directing agencies to consider firing employees from programs that are not consistent with the president's priorities. Democrats call that intimidation, insisting they won't back off their demands that Republicans reverse Medicaid cuts and extend expiring Obamacare subsidies so health insurance premiums don't rise for some 20 million Americans. Tonight, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries knocking Trump for spending the day at a golf tournament after refusing to meet with Democrats at the White House.
He doesn't have the time to meet with Democratic leaders to fund the government and address the Republican health care crisis. But Donald Trump, right now, as we speak, is at a golf event. It's outrageous.
And again, David, the president had invited congressional Democrats to the White House, but then he canceled that meeting, and he does not appear willing to meet with them again at all, with the shutdown only 5 days away, David.
Rachel Scott live at the White House tonight. Rachel, thank you. Tonight, one of the FBI's most wanted black liberation activists, Assata Shakur, has died in Cuba. Granted political asylum after escaping prison in 1979. She was serving a life sentence for killing a New Jersey state trooper in 1973. For decades, she insisted she didn't shoot anyone. Born Joanne Chesmard, Cuban officials say she died in Havana due to health conditions and advanced age. Assata Shakur was 78. When we come back here tonight, this major Amazon settlement tonight for some customers involving some Amazon Prime subscriptions. Who's eligible, we'll explain in a moment. Also, there's been a deadly chain reaction crash on a highway in the east. The massive accident, multiple vehicles involved. And the Ryder Cup outside New York and the explosion sending fans running before it even started. We'll have more on this in a moment here. Tonight, a deadly chain reaction crash in Virginia amid heavy rain. Dashcam video showing the chaos on I-81 in Rockbridge County. 10 vehicles were involved, sending cars right across the interstate. That pileup unfolding after an initial crash caused a slowdown. The lone fatality, authorities say a driver in the final car that crashed. A power line explosion sending golf fans scrambling ahead of the Ryder Cup in Bethpage, New York this morning. Sparks and a flash erupting right outside the gates on Long Island. The early morning crowd ducking for cover right there as the power line crackled overhead. No one was hurt, and police safely moved everyone to another entrance. That's a wild start to the Ryder Cup. When we come back tonight, there's news on Jimmy Kimmel this evening. The rest of those ABC stations back on board with Jimmy. And Amazon customers getting a cut of a massive settlement. So who qualifies? In just a moment. To the index of other news tonight, Jimmy Kimmel, who returned this week, will now be back on across the country tonight. Station groups Sinclair and Nexstar announcing Kimmel's return to the airwaves on their ABC-affiliated stations. The broadcasters preempted Kimmel, Sinclair and Nexstar, both citing the importance of free speech and the First Amendment in their decisions to bring Kimmel back. Tonight, a major recall, a fire risk prompting BMW to recall 200,000 vehicles. BMW saying engine starters could corrode, short circuit, and overheat. The recall impacting a range of sedans, SUVs, convertibles, and coupes. The model years fall between 2019 and 2022. Drivers can get the starter replaced at dealerships free of charge. We'll have more on our website for you. And tonight, Amazon is now preparing to pay out that $1.5 billion to customers following an FTC settlement. According to court documents, some customers who signed up for Prime after June of 2019 will automatically receive $51. Other customers will have to file a claim. The FTC claiming Amazon tricked people into subscribing to Prime and that it was difficult for some to get rid of their subscriptions. Amazon has admitted no wrongdoing. When we come back here tonight, the home run history on the field, but then what happened off the field? Who is our person of the week? Finally tonight here, the catcher who made history on the field, and then the fan who quietly did something in the stands. A remarkable moment of generosity. Our person of the week.
Tonight, the extraordinary history made on the baseball field, and then the incredible act of sportsmanship up in the stands. Seattle Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh stepping up to the plate. The crowd chanting MVP. Cal Raleigh about to make history.
Fly ball to right field, number 60! A catcher has hit 60 home runs!
Hitting his 60th home run this season. One of just 7 players in the MLB to ever hit 60 home runs in a season. And he's the only catcher ever to do it.
Your MVP moment, Cal Raleigh!
The history made on the field, but what happened then off the field was quite something too. Mariners fan Glenn Moody Driscoll caught the ball and then gave it to a child in the stands right near him. That young fan couldn't believe it. 12-year-old Marcus Ruelos wearing a Mariners jersey. The two did not know each other, but they took photos together after. That ball is said to be worth an incredible $100,000 to $200,000. The Mariners hearing about what that fan did for that little boy and tracking the man down, inviting him and his family back to the baseball stadium to meet the catcher who made history. Cal Raleigh giving that father a signed baseball and writing, "Glenn, thanks for being a good guy and nice catch." Tonight, the Mariners telling us Glenn's generosity was an inspiration to all of us. His actions embody the spirit of Mariners baseball, and we're glad we were able to create a special experience for him and his family in return. And right here tonight,
hi, David.
That dad, Glenn, who gave the ball away, telling us why he did it.
I saw a kid in front of me, and it was just what I decided to do. I'm 100% glad that I did it. And if anything, yeah, just spreading acts of kindness whenever you can. That's a good thing to do.
And so we choose Glenn, who gave that ball away, the young fan Marcus, and of course Cal Raleigh, who made history. An all-new 2020 tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you then. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 3rd year in a row.